So welcome everyone. This is Natalie Himmerich, author of Grieving Parents Surviving Loss as a Couple. I'm here today interviewing Carly Mead Dudley on her project called Capture Your Grief. I came about the word grief work as part of writing the book, Grieving Parents Surviving Loss as a Couple. And specifically there was this grief theorist called Eric Lindemann who interviewed 101 bereaved people on the effects of traumatic events after a fire in about the 1940s. And he made this term for progressing through grief called grief work. And this concept really speaks to me. And by doing the Capture Your Grief project, I really started to think about that. So I wanted to ask you, Carly, first of all, before I ask a question, thank you so much for offering us your wisdom and your time and for doing this project. It's been really greatly received. So I wanted to ask you a little bit more about Capture Your Grief. Tell us, how did it came about?
Well, a few years ago, I was wanting to look a little bit deeper into my own grief and my own experience and where I was going in my own life. But I get easily distracted with just, the everyday workings that life is. And so I had this intention in my head. I wanted to just do a bit of kind of soul searching, I guess you could say. But I was lazy, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll look into that more tomorrow or the next day. And then I realized that I never ended up really doing much, and I kind of got a little lost along the way. And so I decided. I mean, I guess I felt a little bit of disappointment there that I hadn't really focused enough on what I wanted to do. And so I decided that I would set myself a project for 1 month where each day I would focus on a different part of my grief at the time, and that was 3 years ago now. And so I was telling a friend about it and what I wanted to do, and I had to come up with 31 subjects for each day to look into, and she said, "Oh my goodness, can I do it with you?" And I said, "Well, yeah, if you want to," but I said it might, the subjects might not appeal to you. And originally it wasn't a photograph project, it was just like a writing sort of thing. And then a couple more people, like, it just kind of spread out, and people said, "Can we do it? Can you put it up on your website?" And so then I thought, well, yeah, let's make this into a project. And everyone loves sharing photographs, and so I thought we'll make it a photo a day project. So that's basically how it started, and we just had thousands of people joining from the very beginning. So it was essentially a project for myself that I shared, and it spoke to others. And yeah, it's just grown from there, I guess.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you're saying that this is 3 years ago, so that this year is the
Yeah,
fourth
the
year,
third.
would it be?
This is the third year. So yeah, 2 years, I guess you could say. This is the
Okay.
third project. Yeah.
And so
Sorry, it's been a long day.
what can people expect who are taking part in the project?
Well, I guess, I really encourage everyone to go to my website and actually read all of the information about the entire project and all the instructions, because I think a lot of people probably see it through other people and they say, okay, they see the one image and they think, well, this is the subject for today and I'm going to do that, but they haven't actually spent any time reading what the project is about. And I have some rules on there, and it's basically not because I want people to follow what I'm doing, but they're there for people to look after themselves. And the thing that I don't know, I don't know if it frustrates me, but I get a little down when people set these really, they set themselves goals that probably they're not going to be able to make, like they want to do it every day. They want to make sure that they complete the whole project every single day, and it's just not realistic. Like if you want to do the project, it's probably best to, you know, take a few days at least for each subject, and just to take your time. And so the rules are basically just don't set any, you know, goals or expectations for this, and just go with it and relax and join in on the days that you want to. And if there's a day that comes up that doesn't speak to you, or it makes you feel uncomfortable, or it brings you more pain, then just let go of that, and don't feel any guilt over it, because it's not about completing every single day. It's about you know, kind of exploring what you want to. So, you know, I ask that people be very mindful of their own headspace and where they're at, and just do what makes them, what helps them, and what they want to do, rather than doing it because they feel they have to and they don't want to be disappointed if they didn't finish it. So people, I mean, I always, I don't like to have expectations of things, because then you open yourself up to disappointment. So I hope that people you know, follow the self-care rules and relax with it and enjoy the experience and learn a little bit more about themselves and about their grief experience, and hopefully meet some other people and make some new friendships, and with people who are also doing it. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be different for everyone. Some people aren't going to like it. It's not a project for everyone. It's you know, I mean, everybody, we all grieve, but this isn't everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. You know, we're all very different, so it depends on what your tastes are like, I guess. But I just hope that people are looking after themselves and not expecting too much from themselves as well.
Mm. Well, definitely. I was sharing with a friend of mine who's also taking part that it's not just about posting pretty images. It's really not. And I experienced some really tough moments in that. And I think I just wonder, what kind of feedback have you received over the years from other people taking part, or this year?
Yeah, well, I haven't done it this year, and I'm not sure if I will, but I'm not sure if it was the first year or the second year, but we did have, like at the end of the project, we had a space on my website where people could give their feedback. And we didn't have any really negative feedback. We had people say that it was a real challenge for them, and it took them into some very dark moments, but they all acknowledged that they wanted to go there. But mostly, like, each year just grows by the thousands, and so it's very difficult for me to get to everyone's messages and everyone's feedback. I haven't yet had anything really negative that I've been upset by. I think people are very honest, and I really appreciate that. I've seen on, you know, a few photographs on Instagram where people have said, well, today this didn't make me feel good at all, and it took me right back to this spot. But they're also learning, like we had a conversation about this before, and it's about, you know, what am I going to get out of going to that dark place? And so people are learning about their own grief and what they need to go into and what they don't necessarily need to go into, which is really good. You know, it offers people an opportunity to look a little bit deeper into their own experience and kind of focus on their own minds and how their own thought patterns work. And once you start paying attention to your thoughts, that's when you can kind of make changes in your own life. So yeah, the feedback has been amazing. Like, and it's been so beautiful. I've met the most, like I told you about, beautiful woman that I met on Instagram, who's just this amazing artist with food. And anyway, I wrote on her Instagram, you know, I said I was having a really terrible day, and that I never have terrible days. It's very rare, recently I've had a few really down days, and I wrote on I felt like I was kind of stalking her because I went to her Instagram page, and it was just so beautiful, and it was so inspiring, and I was just scrolling down, and I was load more on all the pictures, and I was going back months and months and months, and I just left her this random comment on something that she posted months ago, just saying, you know, I just want to thank you because I was having such a terrible day, and now I've found you, and you're so inspiring, and I feel better looking at all of your work. And so, like, I hear of all these people, they message me and say, you know, I found a really beautiful friend out of this project, thank you. And it's like, me too, I found some really lovely people as well. So this year I've actually taken it a lot more, I don't know if I would say seriously, but I've kind of I've taken part every day because this year we haven't had an event, and I needed to have a space, so I've had to do it because I'm the host, so I can't not do it. But it's been wonderful for me to actually take some time out of my day. I think, I mean, you're just as busy as I am, and I think we are so consumed by doing stuff all the time, you know, and everything is so busy. So it's been lovely just to take some time out to have to focus on this for whatever part it is. And I'm really enjoying the second half of the project because it's about taking time out more than anything. This year is more of a kind of learning how to look after yourself a little bit better, rather than the last couple of years have been all about telling a story and breaking the silence and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
So in terms of doing the project, and you were sharing that you're taking part and you're sharing, you know, not just pretty pictures, and your pictures are really pretty, but also deep insight and doing that work and going to those places. What would you say to people? What are the things that, maybe 3 things that you would recommend to them in relation to Capture Your Grief, how they could take care of themselves?
Well, I think first, I don't want to just jump into that question with an answer, because I'll say no, don't do that when I think about it. I think the first thing I would say would be just accept that you're probably not going to be able to complete every single one, and that is okay. The second one would be, don't do this project for other people. Don't do it. I mean, you might have a Facebook page and you'd like to get more people there and you want to promote it and whatever. Do this work for yourself. Don't do it for anyone else. You know, I really appreciate it when people say, I'm doing a project but I'm keeping it private. And I think that's so beautiful, you know. I think, yeah, do this project for yourself and be honest with it. And don't be disappointed in your own self. Like if something comes out and you're not happy with, if you think about something from the past and you're not happy in the way how you handled something to do with your grief, it might be you lost a friendship or you acted out, or you're annoyed for sitting in the dark for too long. You know, this is our own human journey, and there's nothing to be ashamed of with that. So just accept that this is your journey, and it is what it is. It's your own personal story, and it's all relevant. So yeah, be honest when it comes to doing your own work. And the third one would just definitely be just be as gentle as possible, and if it doesn't feel right, then it isn't right for you. And you know, I think I'm really passionate about that. If you know, not all of my work is going to suit everyone. You know, we're all so different, Natalie, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. So if you start the project and you don't like it, but there's a whole bunch of other people that are doing it, don't feel that you have to do it just to keep up with everyone or whatever. If it doesn't suit you and it doesn't feel right, then it isn't right. So just, yeah, make sure you're gentle on yourself and don't be disappointed in any way, shape or form. I think that's all I'd have to say.
I think that really beautifully encapsulated your self-care, your manifesto for self-care. I don't know why I just picked that name up. And so given that, maybe as a last question, given that you have now this year taken part in it yourself and put up a picture most days, what have you noticed in yourself changing over the last 20 or so days that you have done it?
I think I've kind of like come to a realization that I don't know if it's more like I've kind of had a bit of a weight lifted off my shoulders with I've kind of accepted my own story a little bit more and kind of forgiven myself for certain things that I did or didn't do. And you know, I think I may have came across like in one of the days, I can't even remember which one it is now because it's all a bit of a blur, but I think I came across a little bit self-critical in one of the days that I posted. And because someone mentioned on my Instagram, she said, you know, you're really judging yourself harshly there and you shouldn't do that. And when I was writing it, I wasn't judging myself. It was more like I was observing my story and I was accepting it. Like there was no shame there. I didn't feel guilty. I was just observing what my behavior was at that time in my life. And I wrote that out. I was very honest about it. And I think because I was so honest about it, people were worried that I was being too harsh and too critical of myself. But that's just, you know, that was my journey. And I'm fully accepted that, you know, that we're not, I think we all, you know, we strive to be the best person always. Well, I know I do. I'm always striving to be the best version of myself. But, you know, we're still human and we muck up and we make mistakes and we're horrible to people. And that, you know, when we're thrown into this situation where our child dies, that's perfectly acceptable because it's just the worst experience that people can go through. So yeah, I think what I've learned is that I should not feel ashamed for my story because it is what it was, and I handled it in the best way that I could with the information and the knowledge that I had at the time. So I haven't really thought about it too much, but when you asked me that, I thought that's what I've learned. And that's a huge blessing. And I know not everyone, this project won't bring that out for everyone, you know, it won't be something massive for everyone, and some people might even say, oh, that was a waste of time. I don't know. But that's just how it has affected me personally.
Beautiful. I think it's really nice to see a little bit behind the curtains of your project and to get to know you from your own personal learnings and insights that you share. So thank you so much, Carly. Is there any other thing, any last words that you would like to let the people know?
I don't think so. I just hope that everyone, like what I said before, everyone's just being kind to themselves, and that's all I want for everyone, is just to be gentle on themselves. That's it.
Good. Well, thank you so much, Carly. And just a little bit for those who are actually watching this video. It's also nice to read what other people's written. And what I have done today, I've actually posted a picture of the book because I've given it away on one day, as you know. And I've written down below, if you write a comment, you know, you can win a book today. So another book I was wanting to give away. And it was just also interesting to see, well, who's actually reading what I write. Not because that they need to read it, but just to see, you know, who's taking part in other people's journey. So if you're watching this today and if you want to see what I've written and what I've posted, have a look over on my Facebook page or on my Instagram page. You'll find those. So thank you so much, Carly. And I'm really looking forward to the last few days of Capture Your Grief 2014 and whatever other projects you've got coming on to the end of the year as well as next year again.
Thanks so much for having me, Natalie. It's always an honour and a pleasure.
Thank you.